Based on my understanding of educator dispositions, I feel there are a few that I possess currently that make me a successful teacher. The first one is the one that states that educators should believe all students can learn and should set and support realistic expectations for student success. I work with special education students, and working in that setting with students with varying needs, it is really important to work with each student at their level. So I personally find that setting different goals and expectations for each student ensures that everything is tailored to the student's needs and gives them a sense of success. And once that student feels that they can be successful, they're more compliant to complete the work and give it 100% because they know that they can do it. Another disposition that I feel I currently embrace to make me a successful teacher is the disposition that states that educators should be sensitive to individual learning and social needs of students and embrace the cultural diversity of the community. I work in urban education, so for me it's definitely important to realize that each student comes from a different socioeconomic background. Especially, they also come from a different background than I came from. So it's important to be sensitive to those needs because not all of my students are financially able to obtain things like school supplies or even clothes that some of my other students can. So for me personally, I do not require any of my students to bring in school supplies at all. I provide everything for my students to go home and to use at school to make sure that no student has more or less than another student. And those are the two dispositions that I feel I've recently mastered incorporating into my teaching methods. But there are also some that I think I can work on. The one disposition I feel like I can work on states that educators should promote social justice and equality and equity, maintain appropriate standards of confidentiality, and exercise fairness in all areas, including assessment, with varying needs and abilities of my students. I have realized that I tend to cater standards and behavioral consequences to the student. So to me, this seems fair most of the time because some students are cognitively more able to kind of understand right from wrong and what they're doing. But I definitely have realized that for my more higher functioning students, they can see that sometimes things might seem unfair. So for me, I want to work on things seeming fair to my students and also to me. There's also a disposition that discusses community involvement. I would love to become more involved in the community that I teach in. I don't live in the district I teach in, but it is super important for my students and my parents to see that I am involved in their community and I'm working with them. I don't want to be seen as kind of the person on the outside. With that being said, what a professional educator looks like to me is just someone who genuinely cares about the well-being of their students. So someone who looks at the whole student rather than just the academic progress. Now, physically, I don't think that you can have a set appearance for a professional educator. Yes, I'm sure that when you go into school, you want to look professional, but I think you also have to dress for the job that you're doing. So a physical education teacher might still be a professional educator wearing shorts, a t-shirt, and sneakers, but a classroom teacher you might find wearing a blouse and pants and fancier shoes like high heels or flats. I don't really think the appearance necessarily matters as much as the passion that they have for their students and embracing the job that you're doing and ensuring that you are doing the best you possibly can to help your students not only grow academically but also socially and emotionally.